He has a degree in medicine. He practiced at the Johns Hopkins Medical Center. His diction is slow and deliberate, and his tailoring is exquisite. He knows art in wine, and he has the cooking skills of a chef. He has the focused intensity of a caged predator, and you can see it in his eyes. And if you're not careful, he will eviscerate you and then eat you. His name is Dr. Hannibal Lecter, and he is the most dangerous man alive in the books by Thomas Harris and the many film and television adaptations, including Anthony Hopkins' career-high performance in the Oscar-winning film The Silence of the Lambs. But for me, as much as I love Anthony Hopkins' performance, and I truly do, I feel the most perfect embodiment of the character as it appears on the page is by Mads Mikkelsen in Hannibal, the television show from 2013. He has nearly preternatural strength and an urbane sophistication. He is deft with a knife and is fully versed in the techniques of surgery and gastronomy. He is surprisingly insightful of the human condition, which is surprising considering that he is devoid of emotion, pity, or remorse. Mads Mikkelsen's portrayal of Hannibal Lecter is a study in strength and restraint, but when he is unleashed with gory purpose, it is something to behold. And in this series, we see him writing several times with a fountain pen, in undulations of ink in a perfect calligraphic hand. Once again, restraint, beauty, sophistication. And which fountain pen do we see him using? Well, a version of this one by St. Dupont, the Défi. Let's take a look at it together. This pen, in many ways, is the perfect embodiment of the character of Hannibal Lecter, a mix of old world sophistication and a sort of injurious potency. It's sleek, black, and palladium. And if you undo the snap cap and look at this very distinctive nib, partially hooded, wrapped around, you have to ask yourself, what is this nib hiding? And I suppose you also need to ask yourself, can the fountain pen of a psychopath be the perfect pen for you? Perhaps. Before we get into the particulars of the pen, I think it would be helpful to delve into some of St. Dupont's history to get a sense of the brand and how it supports the urbane and sophisticated nature of the character Hannibal Lecter. In 1872, Napoleon III's photographer, Simon Tissot Dupont, opened a leather workshop in Paris, making briefcases for diplomats. It went on to supply some of the grandest shops in Paris. In 1919, his sons Lucien and André continued the business: goldsmiths, woodworkers, lacquer workers, and engravers. In 1924, more than 100 years ago, they released their line of fine writing instruments. St. Dupont is probably most well known for their line of lighters, even supplying the James Bond franchise. Their lighters were first introduced in 1941. The company was sold in 1971 to Gillette, who retained ownership until 1987. It went on to be owned by subsequent owners, but for me, the company seems to remain in that early 70s luxury aesthetic. That transitional period when styles were shifting, but luxury and manners were still rooted in mid-century modernism. So St. Dupont is carrying quite a heritage, always headquartered in Paris. If we consider this and balance it against this whispering European luxury that does not scream to be noticed, it's discreet yet refined. A beautiful writing instrument and a perfect tool for someone who is both incredibly dangerous and incredibly educated. Holding one in my hand, I feel that St. Dupont and the Défi differentiates itself through grace and form. This one came from Peyton Street Pens. I bought it. It was $225. I've always been curious, and now I am so excited to delve in and share some of my experiences of using this pen that has some interesting associations. The materials here, it's likely black Chinese lacquer with palladium bracketing it in a dynamic tension. These two materials are having a deep conversation as if one pen resides within another, a core of obsidian restrained by shining chrome, dual lines leading your finger provocatively down the barrel to the cap. One thing is for sure about this pen, it cannot escape your desk by rolling away. The palladium brackets restrain its motion, holding it in place. Its finish is like the shining metal of a scalpel coming out of the night, or a glint of a blade against a black shining sheath. The pen is long, 152 millimeters capped, a snap cap with a long, elegant, nearly formal clip that works brilliantly. It's spring loaded. The edge of the cap is protected with metal against metal. The band on the barrel says St. Dupont and Paris, presumably where it's from, although I would challenge you to locate a pen factory in the city limits. This pen is long like a wand, like a totem for warding off evil spirits. But the evil we encounter in this world is not a spirit, but a man. And no amount of waving a wand is going to dissuade him from his terrible purpose. Perhaps you could write it away. Now, Hannibal Lecter preferred to eat the rude, and if you could be beguiling with interesting tales of your exploits or ideas like some sort of horror film version of the Arabian Nights, then maybe you do stand a chance. Uncapped, this pen is 133 millimeters and perfectly balanced, like fine cutlery and nearly as injurious. The balance of this pen plays a little trick on you. It makes it feel lighter than it is. Capped, it's 41 grams. Uncapped, 25. There is a dangerous, refined energy in this fountain pen, like an aristocrat hiding a dagger. And the hidden blade is this beautifully partially hooded nib that wraps around this incredible feed that's flat and stepped and sloped, has a brilliant angle to it. It just all unifies in perfect design and form to give you a fantastic writing experience. There is an F in the back of the middle of the feed to designate that this is a fine nib pen. And is it fine? Well, surgically so. There is also a stylized D for Dupont underneath the nib, with one matching on the top of the cap. Remember, the nib is steel, surgical steel, perhaps. But the quality of steel here is very beguiling because it feels like a gold nib pen. Now, the line between gold and steel is really blurry, and it's hard to make declarations that hold in all circumstances. But nevertheless, when you're holding this, when you're writing with it, it feels very smooth, very precise, very luxurious in your line, a really beautiful flow that's continuous. It actually reminds me quite a bit of my Waterman Edison. And that is some of the highest praise I can put on any fountain pen. There is no give with this. There is no compromise, but you get smoothness, precision. When I write with this pen, it gives me two feelings, really. It has that sort of hard nib feel of an Edison, but with amazing smoothness. And then add on to that it is one of the smoothest pens I own, nearly Schaefer Legacy smooth. So you have this cushion of beautiful ink pushing the nib along while you write with it. And my choice of ink, well, what else could I go with beside Diamine's Writer's Blood? thought it was perfect considering the associations and the occasion. And I just love the lines I'm forming in my week and a half of writing with this pen on a daily basis. I haven't had a single hesitation, a single skip, a single missed line. It's been a beautiful slide into smooth madness, restrained perhaps only by the elegance of this incredible pen. In the last episode of Season 2 of Hannibal, an episode called Mitsumono, we see Hannibal Lecter writing with a gorgeous calligraphic hand, an invitation to dine with Jack Crawford, the head of the FBI. He says, "It would be a pleasure having you for dinner." Now, owning this pen won't give you that beautiful hand that actually Diane Fossey supplied for the filming, but it will give you this sense of a refined, luxurious writing experience at only $225 or so. I've seen these online from around $200 up to $400 and change, so I personally wouldn't spend any more than $300 or so. This is absolutely brilliant and has all the refinement and sophistication in a fountain pen I would ever ask for. And I actually like shopping through history, going back, finding the interesting pens during the 100+ years of fountain pen evolution that will keep me inspired. And I love an association like Hannibal Lecter, like over 100 years of French heritage. Writing with this pen is control on the edge of chaos, like a fine knife. Even in your short strokes, you know you could be doing more, but there are broader strokes there, and it's easy to get carried away. It's precise for long tears of ink. This is just the perfect ink for this pen. I love writer's blood. I'm going through sort of a reacquaintance with many of these inks that I've had for the past few years. So what do I love about the Défi by St. Dupont? It's a sophisticated fountain pen with a hint of danger. It has that old world refinement, sophistication, balance, but it can be had at a great price, probably at the edge of where I like to pay for steel nibs, but you get so much with this. It's beautiful, it's unique, it's well crafted, and it feels much more expensive than what it actually is. Now, it is a cartridge converter pen. I have a converter in it. The converter is not particularly special. It's doing a fine job. I find it interesting that St. Dupont is not very well known outside of Europe. Perhaps that should change. Maybe I could help. What's good about that is that this pen should pass without much notice. But when it is noticed, perhaps the sun glistening off the palladium, or the depth of the black, or the way these materials have their deep dark conversations, it's going to be for its beauty and form, not for some kind of logo or mark. To me, that is the epitome of refinement. I love the idea of a beautiful pen that inspires you and perhaps occasionally flashes like the glint of steel of an assassin's blade. This fountain pen will imbue the owner with a hint of danger or worldliness, of an almost mad vampiric sophistication. Maybe this is the fountain pen of a psychopath or an artist or a thinker or a poet. Perhaps all of these things are contained within us in a delicate balance with our darker emotions suppressing us. After all, if you go rummaging around into the dark recesses of any person, you're bound to find monsters. Maybe not with a mouth guard. I will say, it's been a pleasure writing with this. This is quickly rising to some of my favorites, and sure, the attention that brought me to it is through Hannibal. I love that television show. I love the way he dressed. I felt like it looks like some of my suits. I certainly don't aspire to be Hannibal Lecter. I think the character's great. Just take all the murder out of it. You know, Hannibal, just be smart, be sophisticated. Just calm down and maybe change your dietary habits. But I did enjoy the show, and I love that this fountain pen, or at least a version of it, was featured within it. It truly does reflect that sort of character, And each time I use it, I get a bit of that feeling, that inspiration of refinement. I certainly feel the precision. If you want to boil it down to just brass tacks, this is a very precise, well-balanced writer. It feels very disciplined. There's something about this bracket that just fits your hand perfectly, doesn't move around a lot, and gives you that kind of guided precision to show some of your best handwriting. So there's really a lot here for anyone, and for $225, I think it's a fantastic buy. So for me, fountain pen of a psychopath perhaps, Hannibal Lecter, an interesting character. I for one will be finding inspiration wherever I can, and I will be following that thread on this channel, and I invite you to come along. Please let me know what you think of the ST Dupont Défi if you have it. And if you've reached this point, please subscribe. That's all I ask. Well, maybe like the video too. Would you do that? I'd appreciate it. And if you want to support this channel even more, membership is available. We have a pen pal group for Illuminati and Cognoscenti members. So please join, help keep the lights on, and you can write a really beautiful letter to someone. I make new videos all the time. I have a live show as well, so I can promise you we will see each other again very, very soon, further up the road. So take care, and thanks so much for watching.